today. It can't possibly be anybody's fault that we're not ready to go but me, because off to see family, long lost family. We're lunch. Well, a bit on the cold side out here. Good news is we're just about to have some food, which is always good. I heard them discussing watercress. Is that even food? And then after that, we're going to go out for a little scoot, I think. Go to the local park. And I had a go with one of those cardboard virtual reality stick your phone in it things. I've never had a go with one of those before. It's actually quite good. I mean, primitive. At least the software that I had a go with was certainly very primitive. But what I can really see is that the potential for this technology is huge. And I'm really looking forward to it getting to the point where it fulfills its potential. I think it's going to take a good few years. It's going to take a lot of horsepower. Luckily, mobile phones are getting more and more powerful. And okay, so it's just a temporary solution, slotting your phone into a cardboard holder. But the thing is, as the technology that goes into mobile phones gets cheaper and cheaper and easier to put into other things for a reasonable price, these VR headsets are going to plummet in cost. And then I think it's going to become something that is actually quite common and potentially has some real uses beyond just entertainment. I mean, what would be awesome is, I've got my glasses here, it'd be great if these had VR built in and a head-up display and all that sort of thing. What's missing in that is getting the technology cheap enough and good enough. And then what you could do is have a sort of augmented reality setup so that as you're looking in front of you, you see a computer screen, a keyboard sort of printed onto the flat surface of the table in front of you. And then you've basically got an entire laptop's worth of functionality in a pair of glasses, which I think is what Google Glass wanted to be, but of course the technology just wasn't there at that point in time. Right, I'm gonna go get my watercress. See you later. Well, we've come to the park and rain has stopped play. Well, it has for me and my skateboard anyway. One thing that the boosted version 2 does have is waterproofing. It was supposed to be sunny-ish today as well. The joys of autumn weather in the UK. You never really know what it's going to do until it does it, and even then it's probably going to change its mind. Hooray, here we go! It was a serious oversight not bringing a coat. Oh well, I'll learn. Ooh, chilly. Coat weather. Definitely. We all had a really good time though, didn't we? You have a good time, Jazzy? Okay, heated seats are on. We're all cold. But the car is going to heat up really quick and then we get to go home to what should hopefully be a warm house. Brilliant, fantastic. Let's get home. Okay, well, we're home and it was great fun. And had a bit of a play with the VR cardboard setup and a bit of a look online at some of the Samsung Gear VR headsets that are available. And they all work basically the same way. By using the £700 mobile computer in your pocket as the screen and horsepower, they managed to create a device that is dramatically cheaper than things like the Oculus Rift and the various other dedicated VR headsets. And I think that's probably the path for them to actually reach mainstream, because nobody will make software for it if nobody uses it, and nobody will use it if it's outrageously expensive, so you wind up with this catch-22, which is quite similar to the catch-22 that EVs suffered with for a very long time. As the processing power in these devices gets greater and greater, there's going to be a desire in the hardware manufacturers to find uses for it, because already this phone is more than powerful enough for anything that you would realistically want to use it for in a phone-sized device. So if they don't find a new use for that processing power, then their ability to design new products and shift them en masse is going to reduce to an ever greater degree. I mean, already people are sticking with older phones for longer, or buying older or previous generation phones because they're cheaper and they just don't need the horsepower. And that's just going to become a bigger and bigger problem on the bottom line of some of the biggest consumer electronic manufacturers on the planet. So they're going to be looking for a way to solve that problem. And I think that's where VR comes in. But augmented reality, I think, is where it's really going eventually, because once you've got that processing power miniaturized, then you can build something which I think is really compelling, which is basically a laptop the size of a pair of glasses. This is where it really becomes interesting, I think. And I suppose technically it's wearable tech, but really it's the evolution of the mobile phone, isn't it? Anyway, I'm probably gonna have to try and get myself one of those Samsung VR headset things. About 80 quid gets me one of those sort of big thingies. You can slot your phone in there and I'd quite like to have a proper play with one. I hope you've enjoyed today's vlog post. If you have, remember to like it and share it and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you tomorrow for the next installment of my daily vlog. Bye. Tomorrow, I am going to be going on a bit of a health bender, I think. It's dark, I'm demotivated, blah, blah, blah. Exercise will really, really help with that. It does every year. This literally happens every single year.